Long before there were pharmacies, there were healers. Mothers, fathers, and neighbors who turned to the earth for wellness. Welcome to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast with Jim Applegate. Each week we explore the plants, traditions, and time-honored remedies that connect us to that ancient wisdom, so you can bring it into your modern life.
What if the best exercise for your entire body only took 15 minutes a day and it was one you could do at home? That's what Dr. James would often call the most superior form of exercise there is, and that was rebounding. So rebounding is something that we talk about a lot. Dr. James would often say you can tell the value of a piece of exercise equipment by how many clothes you can stack on it. So if on your exercise bike you can get 4 or 5 hangers and stuff, and he said on his rebounder you could get about 8 feet tall of clothes. But that's the funny part of it. But seriously, we love rebounders. I mean, how many have we bought?
I've owned at least 6, but they rotate through me. They do not stay in my home.
Yeah.
I buy another one and I give it away to somebody or sell it to a friend or whatever because they are that invaluable. We've had times in our lives when we've had 2 or 3 set up in the living room at a time. I'm not talking like we set them up, exercise, put them away. No, they have a prominent place in front of the TV so that kids can bounce while we're doing worthless things on TV.
Yeah. So like one of the legs broke. So we normally had 2 in our living room, and right now we're down to 1, which kind of
creates competition.
But it's like we're missing out on something.
Yeah. Yep.
I know one time when Dr. James and I were talking about like if he had a therapy waiting room and he wanted it to all be rebounders, and everybody while they're waiting for their appointments or whatever could be on rebounders and rebounding.
That would be optimal. Yeah. Yep. That would be great. So heading into what rebounders do and why we have them in our living room, it's not just because it's fun and it's a mini trampoline for the kids in the house, even though that definitely has its benefits.
Like the grandkids doing the flip, like they take the bar and do flips through it.
Oh yeah, I have a bar on mine and they think it's the best trapeze thing, like and flips and everything else on that thing. Yeah, they think that's pretty darn cool. So Dad wrote in his book that rebounding cleanses the lymph and stimulates the body's own stem cell production. That's not a small claim, and it comes from somewhere personal.
Yep. And we're going to talk a little bit about that personal connection he has to it. And then we want to talk about some of the benefits of rebounding, because this week we're focusing on clearing the lymphatic. So like Lynn said, it cleans the lymphs and stimulates the body, but that's why we're wanting to talk about the rebounder, but some of the benefits go way beyond just cleaning out your
way
lymphs.
Beyond those basics. Well, Dad was introduced to the rebounder in the fall of 1978 by Bruno Gerzeli. He was a famous soccer player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He played for the Italian national team. He played for Colombia. He played in Canada, and at the end of his career, of his life, he actually coached for Brigham Young University in Utah.
Yeah. Well, decades after Bruno Gerzeli had told him about a rebounder, and Dad was writing his book at the time, and he was searching for answers, he found himself right back at that very exercise that Bruno Gerzeli had told him about years and years and years before. So yeah, it's amazing how those circles happen.
Yeah.
Decades of clinical practice, countless approaches tried, and he kept coming back to the same simple answer a friend gave him in 1978. That's not coincidence. That's something working. That's like, there's purpose in that and reason.
Yeah. And so the book that Lynn was just mentioning is the Wisdom of Wellness book, and it's not as much, but Dr. James's
Wisdom of Wellness.
Yeah, that's the name of the book, The Wisdom of Wellness. And we were talking about what is the perfect form of exercise to go along with with a wellness program. He wanted to create a wellness program that, surrounded the vitamins, the herbs, and a good exercise program, and he came back to what he had learned from Bruno Gerzeli a long time. What was that, 25, 30 years earlier, that it's something that had stuck with him. So, we mentioned the lymphatic system. We've talked about it on the podcast before. The lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. The pumping action for the lymphatic system is our movement. So when people sit and they don't do as much, then that's when you get things like the edema where the liquid in the body pools, and it's because you don't have that movement. So the lymphatics can't move it. In fact, I know we were doing a seminar with Dr. James, and there was a lady that had come, so we did seminars on Dr. James's program, The Wisdom of Wellness. And so we were talking about the rebounder, and we bring it in and showing it. And this lady was on a walker and had a really hard time walking and stuff. And after we talked about the rebounder, she's like, I have got to try that. And so she got up on the rebounder, and, we're going to talk a little bit about healthy bounce and just doing the healthy bounce. And she just did that. It had the bar on it so she could hold on to it and bounce. And she said she felt so much better after just 5 minutes on the rebounder.
Yeah, especially for people who cannot get a lot of movement in. And I know when I'm feeling a little funky or off or anything, I get on the rebounder and it's like everything goes away while I'm on it. It's pretty interesting, and then it helps me feel better once I get off. Not that it makes it go away completely, like that takes time, but while I'm on it, it seems to alleviate all sorts of stuff, and then over time because it activates over time, it helps to improve my situation. So the rebounder helps the lymphatics move through muscle contraction and movement. The up and down gravitational forces specifically stimulates the lymphatic valves more effectively than walking or most other exercises. And we're going to talk about why and how it does that. So who can do it? Anybody can do it, even a lady in a walker. Isn't that great? I remember Dad saying that they even had people that could not stand on the rebounder. You can sit on the rebounder, but also there were some people that they were wheelchair bound, and he would just have them put their feet on the rebounder and somebody else would bounce on the rebounder, and even that motion somehow helped to stimulate their limbs.
Yeah. Just like Lynn was saying, even though, an exercise ball doesn't do everything. So like a rebounder, you're activating every single muscle in your body.
Head to toe.
Like when we did the seminar, Dr. James would have somebody get on the rebounder and bounce, and then you would put your hand, like on somebody's back, and you could feel the muscles contracting and releasing, and every single muscle in your body does that, and that's part of the value of it.
It does it right down to a cellular level. So not just the external things, all the things on the inside also are getting that same kind of stimulation. So it is so invaluable.
Yeah, and Bruno Gerzeli had connections with people that were in NASA, and that's part of how he was introduced to it. Was somebody from NASA was telling him about how they would put astronauts on a rebounder after a long time in space to help them.
Yeah, it was the only way they were able to get their muscle tone back, and they were actually able to do it in record time over any other form of exercise that they would do. And the nice thing about the rebounder is it enhances any other exercise you do and supports it. So if you are a runner and you rebound for a few minutes after running, it actually enhances building of the muscle and the repairing of the muscle and all the other good things of a running person. And people that use weights, you get on the rebounder afterwards. So kind of like that intermittent exercise thing. And it actually helps to balance out their muscles side to side, but also it helps to move the acid through the system and out of it, like balance out the acid that those heavy workouts create. It actually, it has so many benefits. So no matter, it's not a replace. If you're doing amazing things for exercise already, it's not necessarily to replace that. It can support that. But if you're not doing anything at all, it is a great option and choice that can it can change your life. It's amazing.
Yeah. Lynn's talking, remind me of one of Dr. James's sons he was a, later teen years, and he really wanted to look good for the ladies. So he was working out with his cousins, and his right side would always be larger than his left side, that he wouldn't come out even. Like, so his muscles on his right side were bigger because that was his dominant side. And he's like, how do I fix this? What do I take? What do I do that's different? Dr. James is like, you get on the rebounder. And because the rebounder makes everything consistent. So he was still lifting weights and building muscle, but then after a workout, he would finish with the rebounder. So then it would balance everything.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I know for me, it helped. A lot of people ask questions about, like, can I do this when I'm pregnant? Can I do this with, like, all sorts of different situations if I have this going on or that going on? Well, I can testify for pregnant that it works amazingly. I had my first 6 kids without a rebounder. And then my last 2, we had a rebounder in the house, and night and day difference in the amount of tone in my body. Like, my body's not perfect. I don't have a perfect body, but it made a huge, huge difference doing that through my pregnancy. And I started out at the beginning of the pregnancy just bouncing on my rebounder and stuff. And as long as you're doing that, it's totally safe. You do not want to be in your 3rd trimester and decide to start a vigorous exercise routine on a rebounder. That's not smart. You would just stand on it, not bounce on it and stuff. But it was invaluable. I was shocked at what it did for my circulation, for my mental clarity, for keeping my hips functioning better and that's on kid number 7 and 8. So your body's already worn out. Your corset's already shot, like your muscle corset. And it was absolutely amazing. So it's safe for the elderly. It's safe for pregnant, as long as you, like, seriously, check with your physician, do it safely if you're starting and you weren't doing it before you were pregnant already and stuff. But it's absolutely amazing. And I think it helps with the circulation for that baby also, because that baby is getting all that G-force. They come out so strong and healthy because of what it does for them and their circulation, and because your lymphs are moving, it clears out your blood. Just the overall everything that it does benefits you and your baby.
Yeah, well, like, just that reminds me, our 7th child, it takes a while before a child can be kind of like lifting themselves up. And with her, what was it, 3 days after she was born?
She was holding her head up.
Holding her head up and pushing herself, and almost pushing herself up.
Yeah.
Because she had that rebounder.
Yeah. Yep. The rebounder could have definitely had a part in that. We also did all natural. There was no drugs involved. We had our babies at home, like, just all sorts of stuff. But still, you're right. I hadn't thought about that she was a very strong baby. It was pretty awesome.
Yep.
And I love that a rebounder can be done rain or shine, cold or hot. Like, it's amazing. And you can do it while you watch your favorite show. Or listen to your favorite book. So what are some of the benefits of rebounding? I know we've kind of talked about it, but we have some things here. It detoxes, it can detox and does stuff on a cellular level. It alkalizes the body, increases mitochondria count in muscle, stimulates stem cell production, enhances digestion and elimination, minimizes colds, allergies, digestive issues, prevents chronic edema.
Yeah. So those are, the amazing that it detoxes on a cellular level. It cleans up stuff, and so it does a whole lot. So then also it helps with circulation and cardio. So it stimulates your lymphatic valve circulation. It lowers cholesterol and triglycerides simply from the movement. You're increasing the amount of blood cells in your body. It makes oxygen more available because you're increasing the amount of blood cells. So you have more capacity for oxygen. It increases your lung capacity. It helps with bone marrow activity, that bouncing. Basically, you're adding a whole lot of, like Lynn said, the G-force on your bones. And then as you come back up, so your bones are like, oh, we need to make more blood cells to deal with this. And so it helps with bone marrow activity. It helps with your blood pressure recovery. So what that means is when you do something and you get your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, recovery time is also very, very important. And doing a rebounder will shorten that. And then, of course, like Lynn said, it works every single muscle in the body, even your heart and it works your heart and strengthens your heart.
Yep, which is just so awesome. So it also helps with metabolic and composition. It improves resting metabolic rate, improves muscle to fat ratio, and curtails fatigue and menstrual discomfort. Oh my goodness. If I'm feeling menstrual discomfort and I stand on that rebounder, it's like taking a pill. It's amazing. You get on there and it feels just like relieves the pressure, relieves the everything. I absolutely love it. We had sorry, kinda off the thing, it made me think of after our babies were born, they actually did best, they would fall asleep fastest, everything, if we were bouncing on the rebounder with them. That was the calming thing, so I guess they got used to it while I was pregnant that I was on there all the time, because if nothing else would calm them down, we would just sit on some of the kids would sit on the rebounder and hold that baby, and it just calmed down and just it's like, "Oh, I'm home." It was awesome. So maybe it was helping them through, like, cleansing their system because they're back on it again. So, yeah, that's
Yeah, and I remember our kids would just sit on it cross-legged and just kind of like bounce themselves with the
with
baby
the
in their
baby.
lap.
Yep.
Yep. So rebounding also helps with the structural and protective of our bodies. So it protects the body from any hard impacts, promotes tissue repair, which is amazing. We talked about the increasing bone marrow production, it increases the blood cells, which then increases tissue repair. It helps with alignment and posture. We talked about Lynn's brother that wanted to be even on both sides, and rebounding helps with that. It can also relieve, any neck, back pain, headaches, and it's not that when we first got the rebounders, I know they sent us a video of people doing it, or I remember seeing some movie with Jackie Chan in it, and he did a flip on a rebounder. I have no clue how he did it.
I can't imagine. That's a small trampoline, but
Yeah.
I've seen people that can do it. Not me.
And yeah, well, we tried the exercises that came with the rebounder, and it's like we lasted like 15 seconds. I mean, it was like crazy the stuff they were doing. When we talk about using a rebounder, Dr. James always mentioned the healthy bounce, which is you just stand there and lightly bounce yourself. The balls of your feet might come off, but your feet do not have to be coming up off the mat, and going.
In the beginning, he always suggested that your feet don't even leave the mat because he actually had people, and we've known people that have issues with it. When they start rebounding, they start getting headaches or their muscles hurt too bad, so they're not getting back on that thing again. That's because you start out too strong and your body is not used to every cell being exercised and everything being moved. We've also known of people that it stirs up a lot of stuff. So if you've had to take a lot of chemicals in your life or anything, and it builds up in the brain, it builds up in all sorts of places, you start rebounding too fast and it can start your body on a detox. So you could have a cleansing crisis if you start too fast and too hard and it's not something your body is used to. So you start out with the healthy bounce, which is just barely, and you try to keep your feet flat. You don't want to be like going up on your tiptoes and stuff, that the calves will hurt so bad the first day. You keep your feet flat and use your entire body weight to bounce. And it's just barely, that's how you start. And it only a few minutes a day for the first 3 days while your body slowly does some of those things. And we have herbs that can help to speed up the process of cleansing the body without all the nasty side effects. But you want to start out slow if it's not something you're used to doing.
Yeah. So like Lynn was talking about, they had asthma, so they'd been taking, steroids for a long time, and they got a rebounder and they started using it, and every time they would get on it, even just for 2 or 3 minutes, they would get a massive headache, and they went to their doctor and he was like, "Oh, that's just, it's pushing, you've got," basically their cells were saturated with the steroids that.
But is that what the doctor said?
So the doctor said it's pushing it out of your cells, and it's giving her an instant headache. So, she got rid of the rebounder and quit using it because it's detoxing her, but it's detoxing so fast.
Yeah. So it would be bounce lighter, it seemed. Like if it was me personally, everyone has to choose for themselves and consult with their doctor and take that. They have to choose that advice. But for me personally, when it gives me headaches, if I was doing that, I would back off a little bit, but I would also be taking something that would be supporting my body and getting rid of that.
Yeah.
Our detox or blood wash or something that would help to move those things out of the system. Because I'd want to be able to move past that, because doesn't this person get headaches regularly all the time anyways? So basically it was trying to move it out of the system, but they couldn't handle it moving out of the system. But eventually on the other side of that, there will be no more headaches for life, not just for rebounding.
So rebounding also helps with your mental acuity. It gives you better mental performance because you're getting more oxygen to your brain. It helps fight diseases because you're increasing the white blood cells. It actually helps with relaxation and sleep.
Yep.
If you have a hard time sleeping, getting on the rebounder for 10 minutes before bed will make a huge difference.
Slows the aging process. That's because your face drags down, your face drags when you're getting on that rebounder, along with all other saggy parts of your body. I have saggy parts on my body. And I'm amazed when I'm consistent on that thing, how it tones things that some people do 100 different exercises for and still can't target that one thing. I'm really surprised on the rebounder, how it just starts like firming up everything.
And it's easy. It's not like it's hard to do. You can do it often.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's easy. It's not really hard to do and everything.
Yeah, and it's the easy part for me is because we put it in front of the TV, and I don't know. It just we've tried it in so many different places. We had it in our bedroom for a while. That was where it got piled with clothes really well and stuff. But having it in the living room, and any little young middle-aged person that comes in stands on that thing or bounces on that thing and gets exercise without even thinking about it. They don't even realize it, especially my grandkids and stuff. They come in and they're not lacking in exercise.
Yeah. So we kind of wanted to, if you're starting on rebounding, something to notice and pay attention to is it's not a weight loss program, in that if you ever look at the difference between muscle and fat.
Fat fills a gallon jar. 1 pound of fat, or is it 2 pounds fills a gallon jar?
It's something like that.
It takes up a lot of space and weighs almost nothing for a pound of it. But muscle,
yeah,
muscle is much more dense and heavy and dense. Yep. So if you start rebounding and your body starts burning the fat and replacing it with muscle, you may not see a weight change difference, or if you do, your weight might go up a little bit. If you have zero muscle tone before, your weight could go up. So Dr. James always told people not to watch the scale for your health benefits on a rebounder, and with so many other exercises also. But he said so many times people are so caught up in the scale that they are not paying attention to what's healthy for them or not. We knew someone that she thought she was getting healthier because she lost 30 pounds, but she lost 30 pounds of muscle and traded it for fat.
Yeah.
So that's not healthy, but rebounding helps to build muscle like on an unprecedented level. It is absolutely amazing, especially if it could do it for the people from NASA, the ones that had gone up into space and everything, and they could come back and they could do all sorts of exercises and not get their muscle tone back, but they could get on the rebounder and it could improve that and bring it back. So even people after surgeries and after being down in bed for a while or recovery from health issues and stuff, it's just absolutely amazing to be able to do that.
So if the scale isn't doing what you want, look at how you feel, how your clothes fit, what your energy is like.
Even the glow of your skin, because when your circulation starts working better, people are going to ask you, what are you doing? You look so different, so good. And it can have nothing to do with your shape or size. It can just be the color of your skin because your circulation has improved and things like that, which is just, I don't know. I love those kinds of things.
Yeah. So
So something I'd like to mention here, because we want to kind of talk about, like we've talked about starting small, we've talked about all those things. We want to kind of talk about using the rebounder to pair with cleanses. Because if you need to cleanse your body, some people need a lymphatic cleanse. They need to just clear out those filters, or they need a liver cleanse, or they need other cleanses. Well, some of Dr. James's herbal formulas also work like a cleanse if you take them and get on the rebounder.
Right.
So I know I had a sibling that I don't think they did it on purpose, but they took some herbs and then got on the rebounder and had to get off quickly and run for the bathroom because the rebounder put it into their system quickly
Pushes it
enough
into the system.
that their bowels said, okay, it's time to move. Like it was time. So if that happens, just realize it's helping your body process things faster, absorb faster, work faster, use them faster. So like it makes me think of like Live Clean. I would not take a Live Clean right before I get on there if I'm not having time, if I need to run to the bathroom for that, because that's one that for some people it stimulates their bowels. Clean Lax right before you get on there. For some people, that might not be a very wise choice.
Unless you're wanting to.
Unless you're wanting to, and you're like, oh, man, I've been backed up for a while, and I need this to work now. Let's try this and see, and see what it can do. It enhances the good things about all that kind of stuff. So it's just an awesome thing and invaluable for that.
If you're doing like the cleansing herbs, blood wash or detoxylation or bladney. But
well, it pushes it deeper into the cells. I'm just saying, as far as an awareness, be aware if like all of a sudden you get on the rebounder and you got to run. Okay, what did I do right before this that might, or whatever. It cleanses the body. In the beginning.
Yeah. So Dr. James always said that rebounding is the most superior form of exercise. It works all sorts of different things, helps with cellular health, mental clarity. And if you get the right rebounders, like we have ours set up all the time, but there's some that the legs fold down and you can push it behind your couch or whatever, move it out of the way.
Yeah.
Or,
I even have one that folds up so you can take it as a carry-on on an airplane.
Yeah.
I've not taken it on an airplane, but it can do that. And in talking about that and getting a rebounder, they're not all created equal. You cannot buy a good rebounder at Walmart and I've never seen them at any local sporting good place that are worth having. If you bounce on it and it feels like you hit bottom, if there's not a gradual bottom and sends you right back up, it is not a good rebounder. That jar is just like going outside and going jogging. It's very taxing on your body. If you're not paying a few $100s for it, at least, unless you get it like on Facebook Marketplace or from a friend, I'm actually I bought my first 2 or 3 brand new, paid a fortune for them. And since then, I watch Facebook regularly because I really like to give them away. And people buy them in January and sell them in March because they just decide not to keep up with it like any other New Year's resolution. So I have actually bought most of mine for around $50 online. I just make sure I do a good brand. Nidak is a good brand. Rebound Air is a good brand. There's probably all sorts of other brands. Those are just the 2 that I go back to regularly.
Yeah.
The ones, Rebound Air is the main one that I have in my house.
Yep. And so like Dr. James talked about, the springs they're a barrel shape.
Yeah, barrel shape, not just a straight.
Yeah, not just
same size all the way.
And like Lynn said, if it's got a jar at the bottom, then it's not good. Look for ones that don't do that.
Yeah. Yep. It actually create more damage than good.
Yeah.
If it's that way. So don't buy a cheap one and think it's think it's going to do everything that we're talking about.
Yeah. But the benefits are amazing and it's easy. 15 minutes a day, do it for 30 days and it will become almost a habit, and just judge by how you feel and see what the difference it makes. If you ever want to try one out, come by here to the office, and I got one sitting in my office because use it anywhere. If you meet anybody in the family, we've all got rebounders, and if not, we'll probably find one for them to give to them eventually.
Yeah,
because we all love them that much.
Yeah, yep, they are crucial, central in our health. Yep.
So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, just let us know. We'll talk to you next time.
Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast with Jim Applegate. Visit drugfreehelpstore.com to download your free Healer in Every Home guidebook and explore herbal formulas that support your health naturally. Be sure to follow the podcast, leave a review, and share it with someone who loves natural living as much as you do. Thanks for joining us, and remember, true healing starts at home.
It is not the intent of professional herbal instruction or any persons associated therewith to diagnose or prescribe. The intent is only to offer herbal information for your consideration. In the event you use this information without your doctor's approval, you are prescribing for yourself, which is your God-given right. But professional herbal instruction or any persons associated herewith assume no responsibility. The claims and statements made on this podcast have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.